Chapter 5. My heart beat hard against my chest. I turned my eyes to Celeste, then to Molly. Had they seen those disgusting feet? They sat very straight, eyes locked on Mrs. Mark's face. I searched for Brad and found him in the front row. He was tapping a pencil on his desk, very casual, pretending everything was okay. I turned back to Mrs. Mark. I tried not to stare down at her feet, but I did. I couldn't help it. Well, what are you staring at? Miss Mark demanded again. Huh? Me? I could feel beads of sweat form on my forehead. I'm staring at nothing. My voice came out in a choked whisper. Mrs. Mark shook her blobby head from side to side. Didn't anyone tell you I'm a monster? My heart raced now. Well, Mrs. Mark marched to the chart at the front of the room. Her feet smacked the floor wetly with each lumbering step. She picked up a long pointer and jabbed it at the top of the chart, at the big black words, food chain. Can anyone explain to Paul about the food chain? She growled. Her big cow eyes moved across the room. Mary? Mary was the red-haired girl at the end of my row. The big eat the little, she said timidly. I mean, the powerful eat the less powerful. Mrs. Mark tapped the chart impatiently with a long pointer. That's not quite the way I describe it, she said gruffly. I'd say that the higher species eat the lower species. Brett raised his hand. Little fish eat plankton, he said, and bigger fish eat the little fish, and even bigger fish eat the big fish. And people eat the biggest fish, a chubby boy near the window declared. And monsters eat people, Mrs. Mark roared. Her doughy face bobbed up and down as she opened her mouth in a long, loud laugh. No one else in the room joined in. I squinted at the chart. I saw 20 or 25 rectangular white cards down from the top, a name on each card, the names of everyone in the class. Is it some kind of achievement chart? I wondered. We had one of those in second grade. Everyone got gold or silver stars. Kind of babyish for sixth grade. Paul, do you know what a bottom feeder is? Mrs. Mark's raspy baritone interrupted my thoughts. I gulped. Well, in a lake or the ocean, it's a fish that swims along the bottom and eats things. I wiped sweat off my forehead with the back of my hand. Yes, that's right, Mrs. Mark grinned. It isn't good to be on the bottom, is it, class? Some kids shook their heads. Some muttered no. If you're on the bottom, you're going to be eaten, Mrs. Mark exclaimed excitedly. I saw Molly grab her forehead as if she had a bad headache. Beside her, Celeste covered her mouth with both hands. Paul, you've come to a school where the students like to be on top, Mrs. Mark continued. As she talked, she tapped the food chain chart with the pointer. And in my class, everyone works really hard to stay on top. She leaned forward, chins bobbing, wet eyes locked on me. Because, guess what, Paul? I'm a bottom feeder. That's right. After a talent show in about 3 weeks, I'm going to check the food chain, and I'm going to see who is at the very bottom, and then I'm going to have a feast. Her whole body shook as she roared with laughter. She howled and slapped her knees, which made her dress bounce around as if it were filled with soccer balls. I laughed too. The whole story was very funny. It was a cruel joke to play on a new student, but it was a very funny joke, and I'll bet it scared a lot of new kids who didn't realize it was just a joke. But I'm a joker, remember, and you can't kid a kidder. I knew what was going on. It's good, I cried. It's very funny. I'm shaking. Ooh, I'm shaking. Mrs. Marr cut her laughter short. Her smile faded to an angry growl. What's funny? She growled. The whole thing, I replied. The chart and everything. Is there a joke here that I'm missing? Mrs. Mark asked, turning to the whole class. Somebody, please tell me the joke. I like a good laugh. What's funny? Silence. The chubby kid next to me coughed. No one said a word. Were you laughing at me, Paul? Mrs. Mark demanded. Does something about me strike you funny? No, I cried. But the food chain. Yes, the food chain. She smacked the pointer so hard against the chart it split in two. Then she waved the broken pointer at me. Swim as hard as you can, Paul, she growled. Swim as high as you can, because after the talent show on the 18th, I'm going to see who's at the bottom of the food chain, and I'm going to pig out on whomever it is. Good deal, I cried, laughing. I'll bring the barbecue sauce. No one laughed. What was wrong with these kids? That was funny. The whole thing was funny, wasn't it? Celeste had a finger to her lips. She began motioning frantically for me to shut up. But I wasn't going to fall for this joke. No way. Can we roast marshmallows afterwards? I asked. Again, no laugh. No one even cracked a smile. These kids were good actors. Mrs. Mark bent over her desk. I could see that she was writing something. After a few seconds, she held it up. A white card printed on it was my name, Paul Perez. I put Velcro on the back of these so I can move them around, she told me. I'm putting your name at the top of the food chain, Paul, since you're new. With quick, sharp rips, Mrs. Mark moved all the other cards down one space to make room for mine. I watched as she smacked my name onto the chart, pressing down on it to make sure it hung securely in place. That isn't fair, a thin-pale girl near the door protested. I work hard to be on the top. Why should he take my place? Don't worry, Sharon, Mrs. Mark replied. I have a feeling he won't be up there for long. Put him on the bottom, the chubby boy in my row shouted. Put him on the bottom! Put him on the bottom! The fugitives began to chant. Wow, I thought. These guys are taking the joke too far, aren't they? I mean, let it drop. It really isn't funny anymore. Okay, students. Mrs. Mark clapped her hands together once. They made a wet smacking sound like her bare feet. Fun time is over. It's time to get down to work. I shook my head. Fun time? Scared the new kid? That was fun time? As I said, we'll start today with the grammar homework, Mrs. Mark announced. She turned to her chalkboard and wrote, Would you come to my house? I would love to have you for lunch. Who would like to do this one? She asked. Every hand in the class shot up. I couldn't believe it. Some kids raised both hands. Pick me! Please, pick me! Talk about teachers' pets. Paul, please approach the chalkboard, Mrs. Mark growled. Let's see if you can tell the difference between subjects and verbs. Why couldn't she pick someone else? Every other kid in class wanted to go up there. Why pick on me? I hesitated. Quickly now. She slapped the chalkboard with her meaty fist. It left a wet, round stain on the board. I slowly stood and started to front of the classroom. I could feel everyone's eyes on me. Celeste flashed me a thumbs up as I passed her desk. If it messes up, call on me, Brad called out. Great roommate. No, call on me. No, me. What was their problem? I guess these kids just love to compete. Here you go. Mrs. Mark held out a piece of chalk. I took another step and heard a horrifying squish. My foot sank into something soft. With a gasp, I stared down and cried out, No! Oh no!